Welcome to Cosmic Comics, Games and Collectibles, your zen of geekism. We carry comics old and new, magazines, toys, games like Pokemon, Magic, D&D. Want Godzilla, Ultraman, Star Trek, Ninja Turtles, Funko Pops? You'll find it all here. Shop our Cosmic Sound Room and pick up a record or two. Enjoy our Comic Coffee Lounge with a cup of Sasquatch coffee while geeking out over a super cool movie on our big screen. Cosmic Comic, Games and Collectibles. Superman loves us, and so will you.
Hi everyone, Jason Hunt here, inviting you to join us every Saturday morning for news. The week's headlines in science fiction, fantasy, horror, comic books, video games, plus Comic-Con updates, and the weather, and the occasional interview along the way. We call it Good Morning Multiverse. We hope you join us every Saturday morning at 11 a.m. Eastern, 10 Central, right here on Sci-Fi For Me TV.
podcast. It's Critical Blast.
And good evening. Here we all are.
Hey.
You try to start us all off all at once instead of just coming in one at a time, hey, RJ?
It's so much faster. I mean, everybody knows who we are now. If they don't know who they are, they'll figure it out along the way, because we're just a bunch of guys that get together and talk every other Sunday about what's going on in comics and in anime and manga and wrestling and pop culture.
Basically, any and all things niche.
Yeah. This is just a catch-all discussion. How you guys been doing? What's been going on this week? Mike, start with you. What's your week been like?
All right. Same old. Actually, as do my shows Monday through Friday. With Monday through Thursday with the Niche Newscast, where I go over news articles and give my commentary on them, and then on Fridays, of course, we do the historical comic retrospect. We're right now working our way through April of 1939. Of course, had Chris and Diane Tomolovich on this past Friday, which we were reading through Jumbo Comics Volume 1, Number 8. Had a pretty good time of it, too. I know Rick was there as well. And speaking of Rick, of course, he'll be joining me for the next couple of Fridays at least, as we, get through the remainder of April 1939. So I'm looking forward to that. And of course, yesterday I've already looked ahead and I already figured out my, in terms of coverage wise, what I'm going to be covering for June of 1939. We were up through May already. And then, and I know in real time, I basically have the next few Fridays up until the week before Thanksgiving already.
Oh man, you are planned out.
Well, RJ, you know that I usually try to have at least 2 months in advance. Now, if I can get my co-host situation kind of a little bit more settled and squared away, that would help too.
Yeah, well, you had it all settled away, and then I came along and screwed it up because we made a change to our LCS Guys show. We used to do that every other Saturday night, and now we're going to do it every other Friday night because it's easier on some of the co-stars to pop in and actually not have to do comic book store work if they come in on a Friday night. I would have thought Saturday night, but I guess I was wrong. Saturday must be a busy day for them all.
Well, that's when you got all the kids in there, most of the day too, probably.
I guess so. Yeah. James,
hey, how's everybody doing?
You're on the Steins Book 7 by now, right? I mean,
well, actually, I just got back from a convention today, so I just made it in like about 2 hours ago. Book 3 is a little delayed. It was supposed to be out this week, but due to digitally formatting, most likely it'll be either this coming week or next week that the book will finally hit things. But
I'll be right back.
Order it now. $15 hardback plus shipping at the website, so you can get all. And not only that, we're doing all hardbacks on the website for $15.
Very cool. The website, by the way, is linked below, guys. You can hit that anytime.
So you'll be able to get it there. We had a great convention. I went in, I'll be honest with you, I went in with 100 books and I came out with 11.
What convention is this?
So I had book 1 and book 2, hardback and paperbacks. And like I said, I came out with 11 books going back. So it was good. It was a very good convention. Ended up doing 2 Spawn covers, sketch covers for people, which was a surprise to me, but hey, I did them anyway. They turned out really good.
Who doesn't want a Spawn cover by Jim Lee? Come on.
Hey, and I did a good. Hold on, let's pull it up real quick, and I will show you what kind of disasters I came up with.
All right. Well, he's pulling that up. Cross, Rick. I keep saying Cross because I just read your names, guys.
Yeah. Well, you can call me Cross or Rick. It doesn't matter to me. I'll respond to both.
You can call me Ray, or you can call me Jay, or you can call me Ray J.
You can call me late. Just call me. Don't call me late for supper.
Yeah.
Well, call me late for supper. It's already around here. I'm sure I'll get something. But what I've been up to, of course, the wind down for Canadian Shield 2 and more over on Indiegogo. That's ending in about 2 days. Basically Tuesday night, or depend my time. Technically, it'll be Wednesday morning, 3:00 in the morning, basically Wednesday. And actually, I'm gonna on September 1st. I'm gonna keep it in demand on Indiegogo, but September 1st, I'm gonna launch it on Kickstarter for a couple months.
Okay, very good. No, JV, those aren't fantasy football belts behind James. Those
they're pro wrestling replica belts, right, James?
Those are the high quality ones. Yes,
But there's the cover there.
that's a nice looking cover. Dang, dude. Now you said you did 2 of them. Are they both the same one, or?
But I didn't take a picture of the second one, so. But this one here, believe it or not, I got $100 for it.
Well, yeah.
So
Yeah,
the other one was just his face. It wasn't as complex because the other guy was only paying $25. So I was like, okay, no problem. And they had the books, so it was their Spawn blanks. So I was like, okay, what do you want on them? And then he was asking for Spawn and Violator, and I was like, okay. And so I did both of them.
Yeah, it's an excellent layout there.
So
Yeah. I've been trying to stay upbeat this week. I've got plenty to do because I'm writing that script for The Clock for an upcoming anthology called Out of Obscurity. Which
thanks for the shout out, by the way, the other night.
Oh yeah, and everything I learned about The Clock, I learned from your show.
Huh?
Everything I've learned about The Clock, I learned from the Mike Stand Friday night comic book retrospective. So it was an easy pick, and I've gone through and actually I went to see some of the older issues. I'm like, wait a second, I read this one on the Mike Stand. It was interesting because I went back to that very first issue, and he had a bat cave full of torture equipment.
Mm-hmm.
If he wanted to get a confession, he would put you in an Iron Maiden, or he had thumb screws that you would have your hands up in while you stood barefoot in broken glass and salt.
Whoa! It was noted that he had a torture. Now you know that even though we've been reading his stories, they've been in feature comics, but that's not where he made his debut, right? He started in another company and another couple of books. He actually started out in Centaur with funny picture stories and detective picture stories. So those were actually back in 1936, and then of course they dropped him at some point, and then Quality of course picked him up and put him in feature funny / feature comics, which eventually he later goes on to Crack Comics. So,
well, I read that the only person who knew his identity was his father, but I'm like, I've never seen his father yet in any of the stories I've read. Now,
I hadn't even seen that yet. So.
Yeah, I am moving ahead to where he's already got his female sidekick, Butch Buchanan.
Mm-hmm.
Who's wants to be his gun moll, even though he's not a gangster. So she's kind of comedic romantic interest. Too young to be romantic interest. She's romantically interested in him, and he's like, "Yeah, chill out, girl." It's just.
Well, I think if I had to guess, because remember I've read some of those stories too. I think she's like probably around 15 or 16. He's like probably in his early to mid 30s.
Yeah,
I had to take a wild guess there.
So I guess the time is ticking on that project.
Time is ticking away. Yes, it will come to fruition. I've got about 3 more pages of script I have to put out because it's only a 6-page script. And I've seen other people.
Are you rewriting one of the stories that was already written, or are you?
No, brand new story of The Clock.
So you're even going with the whole 6-page, 4 to 6 page idea.
Whole 4 to 6 page with the first banner that says created by George Brenner, and the clock strikes across the top, and a triangle panel with a clock in it and text to the side. Yeah, I'm copying the whole shtick. So it will look as authentic as possible.
Just
Cool.
on a kind of a sad note, this week we lost another great from the comic book world. Tom Palmer. Palmer passed away.
I know that name.
was-
Well,
He did a
I
lot of
know
issues,
Rex
didn't he?
was talking
he was
about
a
that
great
too
teacher.
yesterday.
Worked on Punisher
Okay, yeah.
back
Damn.
in the, yeah, just
We're losing so many good artists, and we're getting the good artists back, but they're just not going to where they made the big comics. Now they're all everybody's going indie. Everybody knows better now. Well-
yeah, that's another major one we've lost this year. So
Yeah. Well, with the big two failing slowly,
well,
slow
I,
die.
I think there's going to be a change DC real soon. I think that's one reason why they ran over and got Todd to help
Well,
out.
we got who?
Todd McFarlane.
Oh, wait a
Oh,
second.
I've
DC
been
got
hearing
Todd McFarlane?
Yeah, Todd
Yeah,
McFarlane.
Mr. Todd McFarlane and Greg Capullo have teamed up with, got pulled into DC Comics to do a new Batman Spawn crossover, and all of a sudden, Wildcats is coming back.
I saw that.
Now,
I didn't know they left again.
I've got mixed feelings on the Wildcats. I'll see it when it happens, but I'm still
Well,
got mixed feelings on it.
That's what you always said you'd bring back if you took over.
Yeah, but I looked at what they were doing.
Oh, are they
Okay.
Wildcats?
Yeah, well, it's Wildcats, but they're mixing it with DC people.
Oh,
So it's
that
not
one.
really just letting it loose like I wanted to. Remember, I wanted to bring back Wildstorm all together as a separate entity.
Yeah.
And just release Wildcats, Wetworks, Stormwatch, Team 7, Grifter, Gen 13.
all in its own little universe.
Yeah. And then might do a little crossover back and forth, but just let it just run amok.
Yeah, well, DC's had a long history of that, though.
Well,
When,
no, DC
when
right
they
now.
bought, when they bought up a bunch of the.
Because if you haven't noticed, Mr. Zaslav just went in and fired people in CNN because Mr. Brian, what's his name, is no
Stelter.
longer employed with CNN.
Yep.
He
According to
was
reliable
gone.
sources.
Oh no, they made it official today. When he signed off, he was gone.
Yep.
Yep, he's out of there. So yeah, and he's going to start focusing on DC. So get ready for the shoe to hit the floor. I think that's why Jim went and got Todd real quick to try to. Hey, no, I'm fixing Image. I'm fixing DC. I'm fixing DC. Trust me, I don't want to get
I'm
fired.
turning it into Image.
Yeah, I don't want to get fired. I don't want to. I'm serious. I am not kidding. I bet you he is sweating bullets right now, seeing what's going down, and he knows that when Zaslav walks into that door, because if you haven't seen Jim's new office, it's a little bitty room with a glass wall, with a glass door, and it looks like his furniture is particle board.
Oh, wonderful.
So it doesn't look like the grand scheme of the metal doors with all the DC stuff on it and stuff like that. This
Not
looks
like it
like
used
something
to.
out of a low.
Hello,
running-
George.
Greetings.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. 5 people. I get to use my 5-panel overlay. Yes.
So, yeah, I think DC probably in the next 2 months we're going to see a major change in DC Comics.
I hope so.
Well, hopefully so, and hopefully for the better.
Yeah. I
But
mean,
I'll tell you a very disappointing book. Artwork is fantastic, but a very disappointing book is this one.
What is that?
This is extremely disappointing book.
what is that?
Shadowhawk.
This is the last Shadowhawk. He wrapped it up, and oh boy. I mean, I understand your political views about vigilantism and stuff, but you made him as a vigilante, and now you just basically mop the floor with him and kill him.
Oh, spoiler.
So yeah, that's well. I mean, it's You look, the art is fantastic. I mean, Tan did a great job in the art and everything like that. But they tried to play some kind of Moon Knight thing with Horus, and I was like, "What are you doing?" So I mean, it's. If you get it because it's the last issue, but don't expect this blaze of glory, going out with a bang. It's not there. So, but on the good note, these came out,
What?
and these are fantastic.
I can't read it.
I'm going to
Artists
give
Elite
it
one.
given the big screen. Artists Elite presents.
This is Brett Booth's new project.
Oh,
This is
okay.
Lord it's Serpent Prince, and this is a variant special cover. Only 1,000 was printed, and it details all the books they're doing and what's coming out. But this book was fantastic. Serpent Prince is an extremely good book. He did I think it's his first time he's written a book, but he did a fantastic job. I mean, just fantastic job. Hats off to Brett on doing that. It is just a gorgeous book. So,
Oh, I just thought of something, and I'm going to have to ask Mike Tierney this Friday about it because Michael is he's a CGC consultant. But this whole C2E2 thing, I was kind of reading more about what happened there. Is everybody here familiar with Acetate Gate?
Not really.
No, not really.
Okay,
I'm
so
not.
apparently there was a comic shop that got some of the Marvel exclusive covers or Marvel exclusive books as like, to their shop, exclusive to their shop. They bought these. And then they stapled onto them an acetate cover by another artist. And they were like, only 75 of these are going to be made. They're going to be sold at the con, which may or may not violate, what Marvel says the stores can do with them. But the real bugaboo is that they were sent to CGC and graded upward rather than downward, saying, "Oh, this is not the original book. Something has been stapled to it." CGC treated them like they were, you could have got a
Special
10.0
editions.
out of them if you wanted. Yeah.
oh boy.
So there's whole
That
question.
doesn't sound like a good thing. I take it.
Yeah, I mean, if it's not the original book, if something's been stapled onto it, how could it possibly be in the same condition that you expect it to be in? But at the same time, if you bought the books, why can't you do whatever you want to with them?
Wait, what do you mean?
The
they
question- the
what do you
question
mean-
is how did they-
Wait. What do you
how
mean
did-
they stapled?
How did they? Yeah, I was going to say, how did they do? Did they
I
take
mean,
the staples out and
No. They put 2 more holes in it.
what?
They laid the book flat. They
Yeah,
put
I
an
know.
acetate cover on. They went chunk, chunk.
That ruined the book.
That's the point. That's the
Oh,
point.
man.
The
CGC
graded them high.
needs to do their homework better.
Yeah, I mean, they were only made 75 of them. That way, I think it was 75 of them. I don't know everything about it other than the generalities of it, but I know that people were standing in line to buy this book because it had been advertised, and there was some anger because some YouTubers and some other social media people were able to cut the line and buy in bulk because there were no restrictions on the quantity.
And they
So,
bought them
you could've-
all.
well, they didn't buy them all, but somebody obviously missed out that stood in line for a while. And so they said that some of these were like pre-sold, but some of them were definitely not. It's something that's going to be watched in the future
Oh,
here. 'Cause-
you bet it's going to be watched.
Now, I mean,
CGC
there's
gonna do a better job too.
now there's supposed to be like a different color CGC label for books that have been altered that indicates this book has been altered.
Did it
So
come
you
with
can
that?
tell it's not the original, but they
Did
didn't.
it come with that?
No, it did not.
Ooh, not good.
So it was treating it like this book is a run of 75 special issues, but to make it the special issue, it had to be altered.
Yeah, that's not a good thing.
I mean, that'd be like me just stapling a Critical Blast cover onto 5 of the last copies of Batman and say, "Hey, for limited number of 5 Critical Blast issues, and here's one sent to CGC, and it's a 9.2."
Yeah.
Not good. Not good at all.
You know,
No.
I don't have a single CGC comic in my entire collection.
I don't like them. I don't like them at all. I don't like having slab books because it takes away the realistic of them. Because it's a piece of it's just I mean I've got an old. You remember when the slabs first came out where you could do it yourself?
Yeah.
Then when I've got a couple of books like that, but I can unscrew them and take the book out and read it and put it back in.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? It's
Now, I've
not
got-
this thing what they're doing. And
I've
I
got
think
a
it's
couple
way
of books that are
overpriced.
worse than that.
I think they're way overpriced.
I guess as I understand it, CGC is that the official grader of comic books or something like that?
Yeah,
They're
that's
an
basically
official
them.
grader, but they're the most respected, I think.
Yeah, but I think CDC. I mean, it's going to cost you $100 just to get a book slabbed.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean,
It
that's
costs a lot of money.
ridiculous.
Well,
Now, I have some
I'd like
books that
to.
are worse than slabbed.
I think I'd like to get like a few, maybe like 7 comic books graded through them. First issues of my major characters.
Yeah,
Other
there you
than-
go.
I'll be
But,
right back.
it's like I've got my first appearances of Batgirl and Batgirl in a frame. And when I say they're in a frame, I took them to a frame shop and said, here's what they are. Here's how you need to treat them. He put them behind museum glass. So they're like in a frame, no slabbing or any kind. And then he did such a good job. I had him do the same thing with my Green Lantern 40 and my Flash 169, 139. I don't know, first reverse Flash appearance. So those are all in frames.
I can tell you this: if you've got the Batman Adventures, where it says Batgirl on the cover, where it's got Batgirl, Harley Race, and Harley Race, and Harley Quinn, Harley Quinn, and Poison Ivy on the cover,
$600 book.
that's going for $650, and that's not slabbed
Yeah. I
You know
sold
what?
that 3 years ago for $350
because it's the first appearance of Harley Quinn.
in comics.
Yeah, not the story of Harley Quinn is really simple. Harley Quinn was made specifically for the '90s Batman animated adventures cartoon.
Mm-hmm.
She is a cartoon character that was brought into the comic books because she became so beloved. And I mean, she was. I mean,
Yeah.
when she came on the scene in the cartoon, everybody fell in love with her. I mean, she was a hit the minute she came on the screen.
So that first appearance isn't even the first appearance in the DC proper canon. I mean, we knew that was the cartoon show being adapted to comics there.
But that's the quote unquote official comic book that she shows up in.
I'm not so sure of the official Barbara Gordon Batgirl, but she originally came from the
No,
Batman
we're
TV
talking about
series.
Harley Quinn.
Yeah, I know, but I'm just adding on to the conversation about Batgirl having been
No,
taken from.
Batgirl showed up back in the 1960s.
Yeah, well, the
Because of the TV show.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about because of the
Hey, Gabriel.
Adam
Phantasm?
West TV show.
Yeah,
Right.
because they had to introduce her into the comics because they were going to have her on the TV show, and the TV people and the comic people said, "Hey, let's make sure that people aren't lost; they follow along," and hence Batgirl was born. In
Or
that
Barbara
detective
Gordon,
series.
Barbara Gordon Batgirl, because there was a
Well,
Batgirl
before Batgirl was Batwoman.
Yeah.
There was an original Batwoman, and then
Yeah.
came Batgirl, and then we got the modern Batwoman. But yeah, there was before Batgirl, there was a Batwoman.
and
Yeah,
the
but there was a
Batgirl.
Batgirl.
Yeah, originally it was Batwoman and Batgirl, but Batgirl with a hyphen. It was Kathy
Yeah.
Kane and her niece Betty
Betty.
Kane, who
Yeah,
were brought
blonde.
in as romantic interest for Bruce and Dick for the purposes of trying to dissuade people or get people to show, hey, look, no, they're not involved in a homosexual relationship because
Make it look like they like girls. That's what.
Yeah.
That's all we're asking for.
yeah. RJ, I'm sure that people are kind of wondering what's with your title tonight.
Why?
Well, about an appeal.
Oh, that. Oh, I don't know what I write up there. Yeah. So
Clickbait.
so this happened, and let's EFAP a bit here.
Hey there, everybody. In light of the recent appeals court decision not to hear the case or let the case go forward, I wanted to just record.
RJ, is there a way you can turn up the volume a little bit?
The first thing I want to say is this: thank you.
Can you speed it up to 200%?
Who are so supportive and kind and encouraging. You know, the reality is there are only
It's a
about
Twitter
10 or
video.
15 loud people that are daily pushing this and all of this negativity. Seriously, there are like 15, maybe 20 at the most, of people that are actively
All right, 30.
defaming.
All right, I'll
and
stop at
slandering
40.
online and bullying conventions.
What's that?
I said, she'll stop at 30. Okay, 40. Let's round it up to 50. All right. Let's a cool 150. Okay, 150.
George, stop.
You talking seconds or dollars here? So yeah, Vic did not get to appeal. I don't want to say he lost the appeal, because that would involve saying that he actually got to appeal and stand in front of the judge again. The judge basically said, nope, not going to hear it. And that basically threw the appeal out. So, yeah, that's...
Can you
The terror
appeal not
form.
getting appeal?
I don't think you can. But this was on his defamation case against, who was it? Jamie Marchi and...
RJ, why don't you let me take this? Because this is one of the first things I was covering.
Maybe this guy should go to the grocery store and buy a whole bunch of oranges
George,
and practice appealing.
George, hush.
Appealing.
Anyways, so Vic Mignogna is for those who don't know, is a voice actor who is involved in anime dubbing.
No, we didn't know that.
Yeah, we don't need the whole history. Don't need the whole history.
Well, I'm trying to make, but if George keeps interrupting me, it's going to just make it that much longer. I am trying to make it as concise as possible.
No. Just skip to this thing right now.
George,
everybody
stop,
knows the
please.
history. Everybody knows the history.
He was defamed. He filed a defamation lawsuit against Monica Rial.
What a horrible woman she is. What a horrible woman she is.
All right, that wasn't me. And by the way, he wasn't defamed because he didn't have his day in court. So that's just an accusation or a hypothesis.
He sued for defamation.
There you go.
He sued for defamation. He was definitely defamed. He just didn't get a chance to prove it. Okay. The fact is, they did trash his reputation. Okay. The fact is, they tried to get him.
Fired?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well, he's not
canceled.
fired. Yeah.
They
But-
tried to get conventions not to have him there. When he was showing conventions, they would call up the conventions and harass them into dropping him from the roster. Now, conventions have since realized, we lose money when he's not there, and we make money when he is there. So, in the court of public opinion and in the court of fandom, he didn't lose nearly as much as what they tried to make him lose, I think.
Many of the observers had felt that they were actually trying to get him to off himself. They were trying to get him to get so depressed that he just would off himself because they were jealous of him, being that he's a conservative Christian in a pit of vipers. Okay. But he sued for defamation. He lost the case, and then he appealed it, and then he lost the appeal. Basically, he lost the appeal to give him a chance to.
Yeah, and I think he lost the appeal based on the fact that the judge decided that he was a public figure and that there wasn't the same standing. And my question on that is, Johnny Depp's a public figure, and he managed to sue for defamation.
No.
Well, the issue,
Two different things.
Well,
okay.
No, the issues there were more procedural. Okay, for his appeal to have been a success, the one thing that was hinging on is whether or not the appellate court was going to look at the second amended petition, which had more detail and more of the actual proof that he was defamed. Okay, including Stan Dolan's statement that contradicts Monica's statement that Vic assaulted her. Okay.
Yeah. And that's
The
all the
fact is
fault
that
of Vic's lawyer.
The fact is that because Ty had to withdraw the second amended petition over technical issues,
he tried to submit it way too late.
Huh?
He tried to submit that way too late. Ty Beard screwed Vic Mignogna's case.
Yeah,
that was legal malpractice.
Well, it wasn't like super too late. It was like a minute after.
No,
midnight.
it
Doesn't matter. You're either late or you're not.
You got to be on time. You got to do everything
Yeah.
right. If you don't,
Yeah.
they're going to throw it out. And that's
But
exactly
it was
what happened.
contingent on whether or not they were going to. It was contingent on whether or not the appeals court was going to be able to see and hear. I mean, I think even some people even stated that even the appellate judges acknowledged that he could have won the case if they had been allowed to hear and see the second amended petition, but he had to withdraw it because of technical issues with the notary and stuff.
Yep.
And that's one of the things that hurt him. Nick also pointed out some other things that hurt Vic. In a way, hurt himself too during the deposition by trying to, placate and explain his side of it, not realizing that they didn't care for his explanation. They were looking for a gotcha. So there were mistakes made all across the board there. Okay. But the fact is, they tried to ruin this man's life, and they didn't really succeed because, conventions are still having him. He still has bigger crowds than the people the people he sued were, as I said, Monica Rial, Jamie Markey, Ron Toy, and Funimation. And
Funimation's gone.
Yeah.
But they were he was suing Funimation. So the counts were defamation, civil conspiracy, tortious interference with current contracts, tortious interference with future business opportunities, and with Funimation, there was one more added to it: vicarious liability.
All of which is theoretical. Nothing's been proven, and he lost his chance because he had a dumbass lawyer. Okay, there it is in a nutshell.
Because, it doesn't matter if you're a minute late. What lawyer waits to the very last minute to file something to risk that clock ticking over? You could have had that filed days in advance.
Well, in all fairness, though, that's not the only case he was working on. Now, I would argue that, maybe he should have put a little bit more time into the case and made that more of a priority. I will agree with that there. But he's got other cases, that take a lot of his time too. So in all fairness,
I think
even Ty admitted that he screwed up. Ty has even said that he's going to probably give a lot of the money back to Vic, so Vic can use it to pay the fees. I think at this point, it's just best for Vic to just pay the fees and move it, because basically, even though he lost the legal battle here, he won. He in essence won the war. They did not completely annihilate him. They did not completely obliterate him from the anime industry. Yeah, they got him like fired from Funimation, and some of the major companies may still not be wanting to work with him. But he started his own company up with Anime Matsuri, and soon enough, and he's still on the convention scene. He's still one of the most popular voice actors out there. He still gets huge crowds, and when all the conventions, many already know this, but when all the conventions realize that, okay, we bring Vic in, we make a lot of money. We bring these other people in who are just, who are spouting this nonsense, and oh, we're not making all that much money. It'll sink in eventually. Hope you at least hope so. But then knowing SJWs as we do, it may not.
In other words, they weren't able to completely cancel them.
Right.
Yeah, as long as you're still standing, you kind of won. Is he still doing Star Trek stuff?
No.
Well, that series that he did is over. That was already
Okay.
finished. You can go, you can go onto YouTube though. It's called Star Trek Continued. You can go and watch that for free on YouTube.
Yeah.
And that was a pretty good series, by the way. He even brought back Michael Forrest to play Apollo in that. And Michael Forrest has done some VA work as well in the 2000s. So,
hey George,
Mm.
I got some comic books.
Yeah,
You want to see them?
they're very nice.
They're
Are
very
they
nice.
are they bagged and boarded?
These copies are not. These copies are the
Sacrilege.
damaged ones that I pulled aside. Yes, I know. Yes, but they just started being advertised, and they're already done. They're already printed. Three full issues that you can get from Denali's.com. The Immortal Mask 3-issue series. Thought I'd bring that up. Thought you might be interested in that.
So should we bring up the new news about the super gigantic monster printing company coming into comic books?
Guess what? This is why I knew about it before you did.
Yeah, but I did get the official email from Ingram Spark, the world's
about an hour after you
largest
got
printing
yours.
company. Has made it official. They are jumping into comic books.
Yep.
Oh, jeez. Go ahead, RJ. You can tell them.
George and I.
I know. I've already talked with RJ, but I'm saying officially.
Yeah.
Ingram Spark has come out and explained what they're doing.
Find out why. RJ's going to tell you.
Yeah, that's because George and I have been working with them for the past 2 years to make sure that they can do comic books and color saturation correctly and page counts and saddle stitch and all that. And they're like, yeah, we can. Yeah, we can. No, you can't. Well, we'll fix that. Okay, this is wrong. Okay, we'll fix that. So now they're George is basically the guinea
thank you both for doing it. Since I have an account at Ingram Spark, thank you so much. Seriously, I mean,
No, you're
seriously,
welcome.
from the bottom of my heart, because they're the ones that do my novels and they ship my novels for me. Thank you guys very much.
Right here. This right here. See this? Hardcover. 246 pages. It's a cool.
But that's what I'm saying. Thank
Right
you
there.
guys.
They never attempted this before.
But I'm saying, thank you guys for doing this.
before this, RJ, can you bring up the Santa Claus version of this?
Yes.
There you go. There's the after much wrangling, back and forth. Flip through that. That's the same thing as the hardcover, except it's 10 by 12 or something like that.
Something like that.
Yeah.
But I'm saying thank you guys for doing this, because with Ingram Spark coming in, that's going to make a big difference.
Well, yeah,
Oh, yeah.
It will give, and no one will be able to have a reason saying, "Oh, it's the paper shortage," or
Yeah, that's the whole point.
or we have to you charge $35 for a 96-page book. No,
Yeah, because you know what, Jim? We're Jim. Yeah, he's Jim Lee again, folks. We have Jim Lee on the show tonight. What we've been doing is I'm working with this so that I can take the distribution business and start presenting it to customers, saying, "Send us your print files," and now your shipping to overseas will be even cheaper because Ingram Spark is international. They have international print shops.
yeah. So what it means is, if you have orders in Canada, they'll use one of their Canadian printers to do the work. If you have orders in Australia, they'll use one of their satellite offices in Australia to do the work, and Europe as well.
I know.
I know,
Because
it's
I've
beautiful.
had sales in Australia and New Zealand.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So I mean,
Exactly.
I know what they do, and believe me, when I'm
Exactly.
saying this, it's going to be a major game changer in the comic book business.
Oh yeah,
It's
and
gonna
also,
be
by
a
the way, Jim,
major game changer.
James, rather, what is your legal name? Your legal name on the
Right,
on the
either
doc.
Jim or James legally.
All right, legally? No. What if I hired a private detective at $300 an hour? What would he find on your birth certificate?
James D. Lee.
James, yeah. Now my
right.
Social Security would be something different.
All right, Jimmy boy.
Well, here's the situation that happened, and I'll tell you what happened.
Yeah.
When I was born, my mother filled out my birth certificate. My dad filled out my Social Security card on the same day at the same time. And
Oh,
I
no.
got two different names.
Oh my gosh.
Oh my God.
That's freaking awesome.
So on one it says James Donald. On the other one it says Jim Don. So I have legally both names under is me.
Wait a minute. All right, now I can clear this up. Did your dad fill out the Social Security number before or after you were born?
It happened after I was born.
All right, there you go. So you're legally James, but officially Jim.
Correct.
Wow.
Government name James. He's got a new identity. Ready
All right. Okay. So going back.
Yeah, so yes, I can legally use either name I want to, and there's nothing that the other Jim Lee can do about it.
That's beautiful. Okay, listen. When you first appeared on RJ here, and you talked about your book, The Steins, wonderful book, by the way, and you're talking about using Ingram to get into all the stores worldwide. It was a much success for you. It was during that time going like, all right, that was around the time that I was starting to push the envelope, basically, because they kept on saying they can do this and they kept on saying they can do that, but you know what? When RJ pulled up that Santa Claus book after much wrangling, it didn't come. It came pale. It was like somebody took the colors and pulled them 50%, or put a whitewash over it. But here's the thing: the problem Ingram's going to run in right now is that they have a file size limit of 1.5 gigabytes for a color comic book. As everybody knows, a 1.5 gigabyte size file. I mean, with 246 pages, I just kissed that number at 1.4.
That's 200 something pages.
Yeah.
The normal comic book's 24 pages.
Yeah, but what about an omnibus, hardcover omnibus reprint?
Depends on how big the reprint is, how big the omnibus is.
And no, that's just it. That's the technical issues that I'm working out now. Is that I got Billy Tucci's She omnibus, and that's clearly about 500 pages.
Well, I mean, I'll put it like this. I've got several omnibuses over here. I've got the She omnibus. I've got the Gen 13 omnibus, which is half the size of the She omnibus. And then I've got the Cyberforce that just came out.
Yeah. So if you look at those pages, you look at the page numbers. I came in on a technical issue. I came in at 300 DPI at 246 pages, and that's just kissing just underneath a few megabytes less than 1.5 gigs on the upload.
Yeah.
That's a problem, and that's a big.
But you're talking omnibuses. What I'm saying is just an average comic book.
Oh, an average comic book, it'll take the files, no problem.
People like me who's going to do 48 pages, or even 72 pages, there's plenty of room.
But at a certain point,
okay. But
at a certain point, wouldn't you want a hardcover, a 250-page hardcover that would cost only $30?
I don't want a hardcover.
I'm not. You know what? If you have to think forward thinking.
This is hardcover. This is a book. I enjoy it. When it comes to comic books, I enjoy this.
I know.
But you get the omnibuses, right?
You got the omnibuses.
The omnibuses I got because they came to autographed, and I wanted them as a collector's item.
Yeah,
Okay.
exactly.
Okay.
Now, forward thinking. 2 years ago, RJ and I were forward thinking to this point. Now we're forward thinking.
But you're still working on it, right, George?
Well,
yeah, we're trying to
that's-
get them to be able to take bigger print files so that in the future we can have these omnibus size things.
Right. So it's still a work in progress. But
Work
what
in
you've done
progress.
so far, thank you very much. I've said it several times. Thank you.
But here's the thing. I think it's going to take about a year for people to, first of all, realize that Ingram Spark's a player in the game, and then start adopting it. But I think they're gonna look at it first as, here's another printer that I can print internationally with, and print cheaper with internationally. They're not.
Yeah,
it's going to take a while for them to take the next step, and that's
Well,
this.
I'll tell you what they're going to do. I'll tell you exactly what Ingram Spark will do, because they did it with the publishers. Even the publisher I go through on my book novels, they'll send a message out to Marvel and DC. We're
Oh,
Ingram Spark. We're the biggest shark in the entire world. We can print your books now. We can ship them for you. We can have them overseas for you.
Yeah,
I mean,
but,
because
but
Penguin
that's what-
does their novels through Ingram Spark.
No, it's true, but there's a problem with that thinking because right now their portal is only for digital presses. As soon as you hit a certain number where it goes into an offset press, you're going to be getting an actual phone call from an actual sales agent or a print sales guy, and where they will work out a completely different dynamic in terms of pricing and also how to submit the files for offset press.
But yeah, what I'm saying is they go to DC and Marvel.
If they go to DC and Marvel, and DC and Marvel says, okay, listen, we got 16 titles this month, and we got 3 million in print run altogether.
They don't have 3 million print
I'm just
They add it
saying
all
that
up.
regardless, it's a huge number. It's a huge number.
Yeah.
At that point, Ingram has to figure out refigure their logistics, because they don't have their logistics down for something like that right now.
Well, what you would do, Ingram Spark would do, would be look at where's your orders going.
Oh, they tried that. Oh, no, Jim, I tell you, they tried that with me. I even did a low run of 6 books, 6 hardcovers. You know what I got back? I got 3 that were saturated correctly and 3 that were not. They literally
between 2 companies.
They split it between 2 different printers. 3 hardcover books. 6 hardcover books. That was a ridiculous scenario.
But here's what I'm driving at. If you're doing a crowdfunder and you're going to use Ingram Spark for your printing, this is where you need to be forward thinking on this, guys, because you crowdfund your book for $15 a piece, $20 a piece. You have it sent to Ingram Spark to print. You send your cover up there to print. You fulfill. Ingram Spark sends you a bulk shipment. Now you have a second cover ready to go. You upload your second cover to that same book, and you hit the little button that says turn on distribution. And all of a sudden, you have a $5 book that's available through Amazon, Barnes & Noble, Walmart.com.
Apple.
Anybody that wants to order, any physical copies being shipped at $5 a cover, or whatever you set it at, but it doesn't have to be 15.
Exactly. And also, what you can do, but also when you switch the covers, you switch your ISBN.
Yes, yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
Because here's the thing, and this is what I've learned on my books. Even if I went back in and changed the cover on one of my books, I got to automatically do a different ISBN.
Well,
and the thing about it is,
you have to own your ISBN. Do not get a free ISBN, because whoever gives you that free ISBN, they own your ass.
Yes, I know all about ISBNs. You can actually buy them in bulks of 10.
Yeah, we're talking to the
We're
chat
talking to
and
the
people
audience.
to the audience.
Yeah, but one, before you do anything, copyright all your stuff.
Yep.
2, your titles, your company name, like US Comics, Steins, trademark it.
Yep.
Because you got to hold on to it. You got to own it. I mean, that's the number. That's 1, 2, and 3 that you got to do before you send anything to a publisher. Before you send anything to Ingram Spark,
before anything
trademark,
sees the light
copyright,
of day.
and everything going.
Yeah, before anything sees the light of day, You know, there's God and there's the trademark and copyright
Because my
office.
publisher asked me the first thing they got it, did you copyright your material? Yes, I did. Did you trademark it? Yes, I did. We need you to send us a letter saying that we can, work with you.
License. Yeah, yeah.
And then you sign a document. After you always remember this, before you sign any document from a publisher, have an attorney look at it. I mean, that's plain simple. Doesn't matter who it's from. I don't care if it's Marvel, DC, Penguin, anybody. Get that piece of paper, go to your attorney, sit there with him while he reads it. Because he will tell you whether it's garbage or if it's good. Because
Yeah, absolutely.
he wants you to make money so he can make money.
Yeah.
And he's going to tell you which ones is good and stuff. I've gotten some, when I did the Steins, when I started Steins, I got some really crappy offers. I got offers of a 10-man team that was going to do all my production, all my publications, all my advertising, the whole thing. I was going to get 50 cents a copy.
Oh.
That was it. 50 cents a copy on my book. I was like, oh, this is, I mean, my attorney was like, oh, this is garbage. And then I got better ones and better ones and better ones. And like I said, I went through 12 different printers. I mean, publishers, not printers, but publishers. And finally, I got a good one that was like, hey, this is what we'll do for you. You're going to get this amount of money on everything. I was like going, yep, that works for me. And,
I got a story for you, Jim, and everybody else. When I was looking, I needed to understand what the publishers out there do, comic book publishers. So I contacted a bunch, and I got a response from one of them. They said, "Well, it's going to cost you X number of thousands of dollars, all that stuff," and they gave me reasons. Like marketing, advertising, basically, the whole spiel, right? So I listened, and I said, okay, you know what? How about this? Also, all that. So basically, they have to recoup their costs on me before they can. I will be able to see, profit sharing. So I said, I countered. I said, okay, how about this? How about I pay for all the advertising and marketing and the printing cost? And that way, when you make the first sale, you're making money and I'm making money. They said no. They said no. And then after all was said and done, and I walked away, so to speak, or it was the end of the conversation. I realized what was going on. They needed me.
That's a company that I think I dealt with.
Let's not name it.
I've heard that story. I've heard that I had something like that on a contract that I got sent.
Yeah, well,
basically the same thing.
Don't mention the company. We'll talk about it in private. But I basically came away with a solid understanding that they needed me to funnel their expenses. That's it.
They saw you as a cash cow.
Yeah.
Yep.
And I'm being serious. That's the way they look at it. They're like going, well, we got this new guy. And I'm not picking on you, George. This is just a scenario. This is how
yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
We're talking to the audience.
We got a new guy. He's untested. We're gonna take his book. I mean, it's a good book. Okay, let's just say it's a good book. What we'll do is we'll make him a deal. And this is one that I've heard. I've heard this one. I really heard this kind of. And this is what Bernie Sanders and Hillary Clinton got. We're going to give them an advance. Now, I'm not going to say the $1 million advance they got, but we're going to give you an advance of $10,000 for your book.
Yep.
But here's how this works. We get everything for your book. We publish it. We promote it. We do everything. You don't see any money until we recoup the $10,000 off your book at a 72% discount of the value of the book.
Yeah.
Yep.
Which means they can sell over 100,000 copies of your book and make all that profit, and you're sitting only on a $10,000 advance because they're only giving you 25 cents off the book.
Yeah, basically they'll have to
Well,
sell
that's
the
how
book
that's how they get it.
three
And if the
times
book
for
crashes-
you to get your money back.
And if the book crashes and doesn't sell that much money, you still get the $10,000, but you're not going to be publishing anything with them anymore time because they're going to blacklist you.
Yeah.
So that's how they work. I mean, seriously, that's how Penguin works. That's how all the big companies work. And I mean, if your book doesn't perform, you're going to get jacked. Anytime you hear of an advancement to a book, remember this: until they recoup that money, and they're usually going to hit you at 35 cents or 50 cents per issue of your book, even if it's $24.99. Until they get that $10,000 back, you're not going to see a dime off that money. Even if you sell 1 million copies, you're not going to see a dime. And that's a fact.
Yeah.
And if you have an agent, oh boy, good luck with that too, because he's going to take his 10% to 15% off of the top.
Yep.
And I mean that's dead honest. And when I went through my contracts and stuff, and I saw what I was going to get paid, and then my attorney saw what I was going to get paid, and then we finally found one that paid me really good, and we took that one, and yeah, I haven't looked back. They've done a really good job. And all I have to do is, once the books are at Ingram Spark, is go in and finalize. That's it. They do all formatting, everything. They prep that book professionally. And RJ, you've seen the books because I think you've got both copies, but you've seen the quality of book that they put in there for that book. I mean, I get the top dust jackets and everything already formatted, perfectly formatted. Everything's done perfectly, and it's ready to go. So that way, I don't have to fool with it.
Oh, I can personally attest to the job that Ingram Spark does for publishing.
I'm talking about formatting where I don't have to do it. My publisher does all the prepping for it.
Ah, okay.
So it's all professionally done.
And it looks like RJ there was trying to promote his The Devil You Know Better, right? Was that what the book was?
Well, yeah, the Devil You Know, The Devil You Know Better. All two different books here. But yeah, we've been using Ingram Spark. I am the publisher, so the formatting falls on me to do it all. And publishers don't get paid enough.
That's the thing.
Yeah,
I like Ingram Spark. I really do. And I can place for myself, for my website, I can place 1 book, 20 books, 100 books. It doesn't matter. I mean, I can place whatever number I want. I have it in 5 days.
Yep.
I have it here. It's in nice boxes. Out of all the books that my books have sold, I've only, on my website, anything like that, over 30,000 copies. I've only had 1 book damaged.
Yeah, those are hardcovers, right?
Yeah.
No, it was not. No hardcovers were damaged. I've never had a hardcover damaged.
No. But the bulk of your order from Ingram was hardcovers, right?
No, I have a mix.
Yeah. Now that's where Ingram's got to still pick up the pace, because these 2 comic books I showed you here that were printed from Ingram, the reason why they're out here loose is because they got shipped from Ingram, and Ingram hasn't yet figured out how to ship comic books. So these 2 were damaged in shipment because what they do, they stacked all 75 copies in the corner of the box up against the corner and then filled in the 2 sides with paper. They didn't block them with shrink wrap to brick them in bricks of 10 or anything. And I wrote them back. I'm like, hey, you're going to do this, great, but you need to also do that.
Is Ingram a relatively new company or something like that?
No, they've been around for a long time.
No.
You would think
Half a century?
that they would. You would think they would know this by now.
I will explain.
They've never done comics.
They're new to comic books, but I'll tell you who Ingram Spark is. You've heard of Penguin Publishing. You've heard of Del Rey
Simon
Publishing.
Schuster. Yeah.
All the big publisher companies. All those companies print with Ingram Spark. So if you buy a book that's got Stephen King on it or Tom Clancy, those books came out of Ingram Spark's printing.
It's not just that. They also do magazines, what do you call marketing, advertising material on a worldwide scale.
Yeah, they're the number 1 big boy.
They used to be called just Ingram, by the way.
Yeah, and the thing about it is, and this is truthful. If you're a novel writer and you get in that Ingram catalog, you're off and running.
Oh, we lost Rick there apparently.
Oh,
because
there's still Ingram, by the way.
It's probably the Rogers connection.
Yeah. But yeah, what I'm saying is they have that catalog that goes out to everybody.
There he is.
And when that catalog goes out, and then all of a sudden, hey, you go in a week after the catalog and you're looking at your sales. How many books do we sell today? And you're looking at, holy cow, that catalog still goes out. It still goes out to all the bookstores basically in the world, and they get to pick and choose, and they categorize your books. Like mine, horror, vampire, werewolf. Mine's listed there, and mine right now is sitting in the top 500. And so mine's there and get picked up.
Welcome back, Rick.
Thanks. I hit a wrong button. I was trying to pull something up in a tab, and I did it in this tab instead of.
But yeah, I mean, when I saw that email, I was just checking up and down. I was like, hell yes.
Rick, you have anything you want to add to the conversation here? Because we haven't heard from you in a while.
Well, I don't know much about Ingram. Just what I've heard. That sounds like I'm sort of liking them a bit, and I might then use them. Did you hear it?
I heard
the music. Yeah, there was.
I have no idea. Ingram Spark is automatically playing music through my system, and I never had that happen before. Like,
that's your system,
guys? Yeah, because when I closed the Ingram Spark tag, it went away.
I don't know what you were doing with the
that's
button
new.
there, RJ, but you muted and unmuted me, so you may have.
Well, I muted everybody back and forth because I want to see who's playing this thing.
Yeah, I was like,
and then you found out it was you.
Yeah, because I couldn't see anything that I was playing.
So
geez,
yeah, I opened up Ingram Sparks too, and it didn't do any music for me, so that's weird.
But yeah, Ingram's, like I said, when it comes to novels and books, I mean, they're top notch. I love them. I really do. Because I'll be placing an order Monday for new books to come in here because I'm basically empty. I think I got 11 books altogether. So, and I'm going to wait till the book 3's ready, and then just do one mass order for all 3 books to fill up everything. But yeah, I got hammered this weekend at that convention.
Oh,
but it was fun.
I'm working with Ingram right now because we wrapped up the crowdfunder for the Devil You Know Better hardcover. The interior is done, and I decided that since I already paid for 2 pieces of art, even though we didn't hit the stretch goals, George helped me get them put into the PDF. So they are part of the document now. The interior is done. We just today, after a week of waiting, got the raw files for the cover rather than the PDF cover that's there, so that we can start manipulating that and turn it into a wraparound cover, a jacket, a dust jacket.
Yeah, dust jackets are, like I said, I get, the main thing I get is hardbacks, paperbacks, but the hardback is the main reason I went with Ingram Spark, because they make fantastic hardbacks.
Yes, they do.
And, I know it costs a little bit more. Well, it costs actually a lot more than paperbacks, but they're real worth it. And everybody that's got a hardback have loved them. They think they're fantastic. They think they're well worth it. So, the hardbacks are great.
Hey, James, I have a question for you.
Shoot.
This is slightly different from what we've been talking about. I mentioned this before the show, of course. You know that the NWA's 74th anniversary show is coming up next weekend.
Yes, I do.
Yes. What you know what some of the matches are going on and stuff. I know.
The only one I really know is what Jack Stain's doing, because I have been so tied up with the G1 and what Lance Archer and Ospreay and Chase Owens were doing, because I know Lance and Chase. So I really wanted to pay attention to what was going on there.
Yeah.
So I haven't been paying that much attention with the NWA. I do know Jack Stain and I know Tim Storm, but I think the only one I really know is what Jack Stain's doing. But other than that, I don't know what the matches are.
Well, let's see. Jack Stain is defending. He's the current national champion. He's defending against Scion of Idol Sports Management, of course, managed by Austin Idol. Homicide, who is the current NWA World Junior Heavyweight Champion, is defending against Kerry Morton, who they're calling the future legend. He's a second-generation wrestler, the son of Ricky Morton of the Rock and Roll Express. You have the NWA World Women's Tag Titles on the line over the weekend, with Pretty Empowered of Ella Envy and and Kenzie Page taking on former champs the Hex, Allison Kay, and Marty Bell. And then Camille is set to actually defend the women's title twice in the weekend. On night one on Saturday, she's defending against Taya Valkyrie, and then on night two, she's the winner of that match will be defending the women's title against the Burke Invitational winner, which is a women's tournament they started up last year, I believe. Let's see. Trevor Murdoch is defending the NWA World Heavyweight Championship against World Television Champion Tyrus. Originally, he was going to be defending against Nick Aldis, but apparently Nick Aldis was saying some stuff about Billy Corgan online, and Billy Corgan just felt, hey, you're getting a little full of yourself here. I think we need to give somebody else a shot at this time.
Yeah, that's a storyline.
At work, yeah.
Yeah, that's a work. But
yeah.
No, the thing about Tyrus, and I'll explain. Tyrus right now is probably going to be the most popular character they've got in NWA right now because of his contract with Fox News. He is a mega star now.
Right.
I mean, he really has.
I mean, on multiple levels.
Yeah, he's bigger. He's bigger now than he was in the WWE. He's bigger now than he was then because of what he does on Fox News and stuff. And that's going to be a good match. That one's really going to be a good match. Like I said, I haven't been paying that much attention with what's been going on. I know Homicide. He's nuttier than a fruitcake. But the thing that also happened this weekend was two things. With IWGP and Stardom, they're going to do a IWGP Women's title coming up, and they're going to be doing joint shows with Stardom and IWGP New Japan Pro Wrestling because New Japan Pro Wrestling bought Stardom. So they're actually one company. And Kairi Sane has made her return to Stardom. So
yeah, that's true. But one of the other things I heard about the other day, too, apparently she also got COVID.
Well, dude, it happens. It happens. She's out for 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Okay. But what I'm saying is the Stardom stuff, if you want to watch women's wrestling, watch Stardom. Hands down, that's the best women's wrestling in the world. Hands down. It is the best. WWE, nobody has anything close. Because if you notice, a lot of the Japanese wrestlers that are showing up in AEW, they're all from Stardom.
Yeah. Well, Emi Sakura, Hikaru Shida.
Yeah, they're all from Stardom. All those girls are from Stardom. Io Shirai was from Stardom. Asuka was from Stardom. Like I said, Kairi was from Stardom. They're all from Stardom. Stardom's got a model on how to make female wrestlers.
Yeah.
They really do.
Speaking of titles being established as well in the NWA, they're also going to be doing some kind of 10-man tag match that they're going to be bringing back the NWA United States Tag Team Championships at the 74th anniversary.
That's going to be interesting to see because the United States Tag Team Championship, just like the United States Championship, was not officially an NWA title. It was a regional title.
Right.
So that's why you see Jack Stain as the national champion and not the U.S. champion. Because the U.S. Championship was owned by Crockett, and WWE bought Crockett, which is WCW. That's why the U.S. title is now in the hands of the WWE. So that's why.
Also, the Commonwealth connection of Doug Williams and Harry Smith will be defending the NWA World Tag Titles against the former champions La Rebellion, Bestia 666, and Mecha Wolf 450.
Yeah, I know Mecha Wolf.
Yeah, and you're going to have a tables match there between Bully Ray and Mike Knox. And then supposedly to start off the show, EC3 will be making his NWA appearance in a singles match against Mims. So, and then making appearances there, as dignitaries, Baby Doll, James J. Dillon, Barry Windham, and then Ricky Steamboat, who's been making the rounds of late on the wrestling scene. He'll be there for the Power and USA tapings on the 29th and 30th. So
I have not seen. I haven't seen any pictures of Baby Doll in a while. I do remember when she and Sam Houston were together. They were married at one time.
yeah,
But I haven't seen her now. I have seen Missy Hyatt, and she's actually got a day job working at Walmart.
Missy Hyatt.
Yeah, she's a door greeter at Walmart. But she's doing that just to, stay busy.
Yeah.
It's like a part-time thing. But she's showing her age. She's late 60s, so she's not the beautiful bombshell she was.
Yeah.
And baby doll, she's got to be in her 60s.
Yeah, I think she's like 61, 62, something like that.
No, I think she's older than that. Yeah, I think she's older.
Maybe I was thinking she was born in 61. Yeah, because 62. Okay, well, I could look that up real quick here.
I think she was born in the 50s.
See, her real name is Nicola Roberts, I believe.
I should know something about this, but I don't. Last time I saw women wrestling who were older than 22, it was May somebody or other.
Young.
Hey, Young.
Yes, May Young.
Actually, Baby Doll is 60, according to at least the Pro Wrestling Wiki. She was born February 13th, 1962.
Yep, she's 60.
So, but yeah, but one of the other things that I mentioned too, Ricky, I don't know if you noticed this or not. Well, you probably haven't because you said you haven't been paying much attention.
Well, no, I know about Ricky Steamboat making his rounds. Yeah, I know about that.
He was actually, they had him as a special timekeeper at I think it was on Dynamite this past, or not, I don't know if it was this past week or the week before, where he was a special guest timekeeper for the Bryan Danielson-Daniel Garcia match.
Yeah.
And he was also kind of getting worked into kind of the storyline between the Blackpool Combat Club and Jericho Appreciation Society. So,
see, the reason they haven't really pushed Danielson is he wants to go wrestle in Japan. He wants to take time away from AEW and go over and wrestle in New Japan. That's what he said he wanted to do. So we'll see if he does or not. They're starting to plan what they're going to do for Wrestle Kingdom, so they're going to start doing that. So they've got the tag team turmoil for the best tag team coming up, so you'll see that.
Yeah, and speaking of AEW, of course, one of the big stories that's happening there right now is, I guess, some backstage issues, particularly coming up between CM Punk and
Tony Khan.
Hangman Adam Page. So.
Well, Page is pissed because he felt that when the title was taken off of him, because he had worked so long and so hard for it, that they just gave it to Punk, and they just pulled it off him. That's why he's so pissed. But that's here to say now that you go by what the booking is, and like that. But the problem that you've got is you've got a whole bunch of top tier talent in AEW, and I mean a lot of talent in AEW, and you can't push everybody at once. It doesn't work.
Yeah.
The problem is getting these young guys who are top tier but are not getting pushed to settle down and relax for a while and do matches, look good, but wait until the rounds come around for your push. Don't think we're ignoring you, but there's like 50,000 people now, and we're trying to work things out. We're still a young company. And the other thing is the title belts. You've got two title belt, not championship, because that's going to be settled between Punk and Moxley. That's not it. But you only got one other real title for the men. That's the problem that you have when you combine the titles and stuff. You don't have enough. You need secondary titles.
They have 8 titles. They have the FTW title. They have the 2 women's titles, TBS and.
Okay, I'm talking about men only, not women's. Right now, not including the Ring of Honor stuff, you've got the championship the championship title, the TV title, and an FTR title. That's it. Right?
Okay.
No. The
General
titles they
wrestling.
have right and on the men's side, you have the World Heavyweight title, you have the interim World Heavyweight title.
No, they're the same title. They're going to fight, and that's going to be it.
Yeah, but
keep it as one title.
Until they have that.
They're not wrestling anybody right now. They're facing each other and arguing with each other.
Yeah, but until they have that match, that unification match,
I count that as one title.
is coming up on Wednesday here. The World Tag Team title, the All Atlantic title that Pac has been defending over in England, the TNT title, and the FTW title. Those are all the male titles, right? Men's titles. Okay.
But what I'm saying is, you need secondary titles. You need, like they're doing right now. They're doing a 6-man title.
Yeah,
they're doing that right now. They also need a junior heavyweight title. That way, you can separate your wrestlers from the big guys to the small guys and give them the ample amount of time they need on the show.
Yeah,
and that's
I think one of AEW's bigger problems right now is that they do seem a little too top heavy. They basically have too many main eventers there, and they're not pushing the younger guys, and you're not pushing mid card feuds as much. The secondary titles as much. Because look at Wardlow. Wardlow right now, who is the TNT champion. This guy is a guy who's looked at as a dominant guy. This guy is his persona, ring style are similar to Batista's. Okay, you got a 6'5", 280 to 300 pound powerhouse here, who, as they call it, he does the power bomb symphony, which is the multiple power bombs. This is a guy who should be getting more time, and ever since they concluded his feud with MJF, he hasn't really been featured. They're now starting to pick up featuring him again, having him go up against Jay Lethal and his crew and having FTR into that. But I know one of the criticisms I was reading earlier on some of the comments on Cage Match about AEW is how they seem to be pushing Swerve and Our Glory a little bit more than FTR when you got FTR who's basically a triple tag champions right now.
Well, here's the thing. The reason FTR is not getting pushed like they should be is because one of them is seriously hurt. Okay? If you think when he's going out with that tape on his shoulder, no, he really did hurt his shoulder doing that IWGP title match.
So they're trying to protect him. That's why.
That's exactly why you're not seeing him.
Yeah, I'm just saying.
Okay.
What I've read. I'm just.
Right. I understand. I read stuff too, but the thing about it is knowing booking and knowing what's going on when injured people are affected, you have to make adjustments. Yeah. That's why there's certain people that are not on. Just like when they write, like, oh, he's been taken out in an ambulance. So most of the time when they do something like that, they're writing them off so they can go home and heal because they're hurt.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think that's what they plan on doing with Punk. I think
Punk was out. Punk was out because he tore that muscle, and he had to have surgery. That was the whole reason he was out. Same thing with Kenny. Kenny went out with that knee injury. He was out almost a whole year.
Yeah.
When you had just like with Cody Rhodes. Cody Rhodes came back, had that accident in the ring, ripped that pectoral muscle, almost clean off his arm. And what happened? He went out and did the wrestling match, which was even worse, made it worse. It made a good feed and everything, but he's had to take so much time off to heal from that and have surgery.
Now, having a torn pec where your whole pectoral
that's what I'm talking
area
about.
Is purple.
That's what I'm talking about. And the thing about it is they're playing it where he's going to come back bigger than ever. But that could have gone so wrong. And he could have been permanently injured. If you want to see a permanently injured, look at Kofi Kingston's chest. Okay, if you notice his chest cavity's caved in.
Who are you talking about?
Kofi Kingston. Look at his
Oh.
chest. Okay? His chest didn't always look like that. He took a real hard shot from the Big Show, and it did that to his chest. He was carried out on a stretcher. They stopped the match because he actually got hurt, and he's never recovered from it. His pectoral muscles are completely shot. That's why he doesn't do any body slams or anything like that, because he has no pectoral muscles to aid in his lifting. Seriously, you look at that cat right here, that whole thing. His muscles are. That whole chest is just completely. Yeah.
So I have a question about titles.
What do you got?
Given that we've discussed how you get written off if you get injured and they carry you out in an ambulance. That's part of the story. It's all done by the bookers. Since it's all done by the bookers, what's a title even worth? Going in who's going to win.
Okay, I'll explain how a title works. The World Championship title works. We're going to take the 10 pounds of gold. We're going to go back into the 80s. The champion is seen. This is what the champion's job is. The champion is the face of the company. He is the best wrestler of the company, and whether he's a heel or baby face, he goes to the territories to bring in the crowds to help build up that local territory.
Yeah.
This is why Ric Flair was so good at it. He knew how to get heat. He knew how to perform. Same thing with Harley Race, Dusty Rhodes, all these great guys. They would carry these titles. Now, when you get the night that you get the title, back in the day, you basically were told who you were going to lose it to. Okay, so you knew how long you were
with kind of a few exceptions, of course.
No,
like Harley Race did have some say, like for Tommy Rich's.
I'm saying yes. Now there's a big story between Harley and Tommy, and it's a really good story. It also includes Abdullah the Butcher, if you didn't know.
What was that?
Yeah, it also includes Abdullah the Butcher. So I'll explain this little. This is short. I'm going to give you the short version.
But because you know who's going to lose, that's why there's no wrestling gambling.
This is what Tommy Rich came into the Carolinas, brand new kid. He's 18 years old. His first night there, Abdullah the Butcher requests him to go out to the ring with him because the person Abdullah was going to wrestle didn't show up. Abdullah beat the living hell out of Tommy Rich. Busted him open, the whole routine. They got back in the back. Abdullah said, "I'll pay you back for this." 2 years later, Carolina, Charlotte, big Coliseum and everything. Tommy Rich gets put with Abdullah the Butcher. Abdullah the Butcher does a job for Tommy Rich and lays down for him, pays him back. Abdullah calls Harley, tells him how good of a kid Tommy is. Harley Race goes to Crockett, goes to the promoter saying, "Hey, I want to put the title on him." Harley made the call on it.
Yeah.
Now, at the time, the champion had to put a $25,000 bond because the title was real gold. It's real gold. It's 10 pounds of gold. It really is gold. So he had to put up that. Back then, it was $25,000.
So it cost you money to win the thing.
Yeah.
But if you, depending on how much you're.
But hold on. Tommy Rich was broke. He's a young kid. He doesn't have the money. Harley Race vouches for him and puts the money up for him. So he drops the title to Tommy Rich. Tommy Rich's reign is very short. I think it's like only 10 days.
4 days.
Yeah, but he drops the belt back to Harley. It was a thing. This whole thing was because Tommy would work for anybody, would do anything for anybody. And that's what paid him off. The thing with Flair and Von Erich, they did that little scene because of the passing of David. Because originally it was going to be David that was going to get the title. And he died in Japan. So they gave it to Kerry. Problem is, Kerry couldn't man up to being the champion. He was missing his dates. He did stupid things. He was getting high. So I think it was like 11 days into his reign, they were like, "Nope, we got to take it off him. We got to put it back on Flair."
Yeah, I think his reign only lasted like 3 weeks or just under 3 weeks.
Yeah, it wasn't very long. And like I said, they put it back on Flair.
this is all for the WCW, right?
No,
No,
NWA.
this is for the NWA.
NWA.
This was for Jim Crockett. This is like
No, this is
This
NWA.
is
Not
before
Crockett.
WCW.
Oh,
I
I'll-
wasn't sure. I
I'll
I
explain
know
how
it
the
wasn't the WWF.
Right. Now, the NWA, you have to understand about the NWA. NWA stands for the National Wrestling Alliance. Okay? You have different promotions. You have
Yeah.
Crockett in Georgia. You have Miami. You got Carolinas. Originally you had the WWF in it. You had the Funk territory. You had Oregon. You
Yeah,
had California.
Stampede
You had
Wrestling up in Calgary was even
So-
part of it for a while.
So they had all this stuff here, and WWF decided they were going to pull out. This is in the 60s.
Mhm.
And so they got Rogers to come in to be the first champion. And that's when Bruno came in, and then you got the big Bruno Sammartino championship. So you have all that going up there. But everybody that broke off and became like WWE, WCW, WCCW, USWA, UWF, ECW, they all broke off of the NWA. And you have the AWA that was up north with Gagne and all that stuff. But
AWA was actually one of the first ones. They actually
Sure.
broke up. They broke
Yeah.
off from the NWA in 1960.
Yeah, well, so did WWF. But the
63
champions,
for
the
WWF.
champions, the main champion's goal was to be the face of the company, to get people in seats. Okay, whether it's a heel, or whether it's a baby face, if you get people to flock into the stands, they wanted to see the champion lose or the champion win. He always faced the number one guy of that territory. The other thing was the champion had to make his opponent look good. Whether it was a really bad guy that was in a real small territory, he had to make the guy look good. And everything like that. And if you listen to the stories from the guys that used to be in these small territories, when Flair came in, they got bigger paychecks. They made more money. They liked him. They liked Race. They liked the Funks. They liked White because they're big names. They can draw the crowds. And the young talent got better paychecks. And you have to understand something. Back in these days, they were driving 200-300 miles a night to get to the next town to wrestle. They were wrestling every night except on Sundays. They would do 2 shows on Saturdays. So it was a grinding thing. And the number one thing was with wrestlers: don't get married because you'll be divorced in 6 months.
Yep. Anybody ever buy the book?
Home. The only couple that ever stayed together in wrestling is Jimmy Garvin and Precious. They're still married to this day.
Yeah. I believe they're living down in Florida, enjoying their retirement pretty much.
No. They're in Florida, but he's not retired. He flies for United Airlines. I see him all the time.
Huh.
He's been a pilot. He's been a pilot forever. But yeah, he flies planes for United Airlines. He's a pilot. He's bald as a goose. He doesn't have his curly hair.
I meant retired from wrestling, but
yeah, he left wrestling a long time ago. But yeah, him even when he was wrestling with Sunshine, he was married to Precious. Sunshine was his cousin. They were all living with the Freebirds.
Yeah, we got a couple of small. We got a couple of
Jimmy Garvin, Michael Hayes, Terry Gordy, and Buddy Roberts. They all were living together. Buddy Roberts and his wife and Precious and Sunshine, they were all together. Yeah.
Well, it's kind of funny because Buddy Roberts was actually a part of 2. He was part of 2 kind of faction / tag. He was, of course, the third guy / manager for the Freebirds. But before that, he was teaming with Jerry Brown in the 70s there as a Hollywood Blonde.
Yeah. The thing about Roberts was he went with the Freebirds because of 2 reasons. Freebirds were young guys. They were very young. They could draw money, make money, and he knew how to manage them and how to play off the crowd. That was the whole reason he went with them. He loved those 2 guys. He loved Gordy and thing. And everybody loved Roberts because he would do things. I mean, he had his head shaved, all that stuff. Yeah, he would do everything. Yeah.
Yeah, up here in
Rick,
Ontario,
go
I
ahead.
know we got 2 or 3 small wrestling organizations again now. I don't know what they're called, but I know we have them. I've seen advertisements. For
Well, yeah. Nowadays, a lot of what used to be called regionals are now called independents because. But back when during the time James and I are talking about the 80s, 70s, going back further,
Yeah.
they were territories.
Yeah.
The North what we know of today as the WWE was known as Capital Wrestling under the NWA up in the Northeast.
The thing that people don't know, even to this day, this is why the WWE say they're sports entertainment and not a wrestling organization. As a wrestling organization like the Lucha Libres and stuff, you have to have a license from the medical of the state to wrestle. If you didn't know that, all the wrestlers that work on independent circuits are in scenes like the NWA and stuff. They have to have a wrestling license from that state. If you didn't know that, that's why when you hear the WWE,
I kind of knew that.
Sports, yeah, I say they still. The thing about it, if you hear sports entertainment, they're entertainers, so they don't need it. But
yeah, but even that, I think with Triple H, because I know that
no, they're still doing the sports entertainment thing. But I can tell you this: I know who has some of the old wrestling. I know who has Haystacks Calhoun's wrestling alliance. Triple H does. He's got it on his wall. He's got a memo of some of the greatest wrestlers' wrestling licenses on his wall. He also has the NWA title belt that's got the ding in it that Flair, Von Erich, and Harley Race carried.
Oh, the thing with the little ball in the middle of it?
No, the one that's got the ding. The title belt that's got the impression on the ball.
Huh.
Okay, here's the story behind that. Terry Funk was the world champion. Terry Funk was coming out to the ring with a belt. And he fell down, and when he did, the thing hit something and put an indent on the actual circle on the title. So they had to switch out the plate. Basically, they switched out the title to a new title that didn't have that indentation because it was a big indentation on the globe. So yeah, so that belt is in Triple H's office.
Has anybody ever
make
tried
a new 10 pounds of gold that I know that I believe Trevor Murdoch presently has?
Trevor Murdoch does have a 10-pound gold. I know who made the belt. So yeah, it is gold. It is 10 pounds. Yeah, it's worth a lot of money.
Oh, I bet.
Was it Reggie Park who made that belt?
I believe so.
Yeah, I know Reggie Park. Right. Reggie Park, I believe, passed away though within the last year or so. Unfortunately.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of people that's passed away last year. I mean, a lot. It's like the old guard. Everybody's leaving, which is really sad.
Well, RJ, I like the picture that you showed that you bought like 6 hours ago or whatever. Gotham, 1919 to 1939.
Oh yeah,
with the Justice League.
I bought that book today. James? Have you seen that book?
Which one?
Oh, that's a
Gotham,
book.
Yeah, it's a book. Gotham,
hey,
1939.
I'm not big on the Justice League. I never have been. I like Superman. I like Batman. I like Wonder Woman. I'm not big on Aquaman. I'm not big on Flash. I never have been. Or the Hawkman.
Yeah, but you want to see this?
I did get some of the Hawkman books when I read comics.
Hey, Woody.
Okay, so this is an Australian book here,
I'm more of an X-Men person.
Here's the premise. Batman appeared in Detective Comics, number 27, 2 weeks ago on Mike's show. In 1939, and the premise of the book is that Bruce Wayne retired from being Batman and licensed a comic book about his adventures, which means that Bruce Wayne was Batman from 1919 to 1939. And this book that is out from Giant Panda King is a photography book that basically purports to document all of this. Now I'm going to go back to the beginning here because it's a big slideshow. This is the cover to the book. This is probably one of the best live action Jokers I've ever seen.
No, I got one better than that.
Well, I mean, if you're going to go all the way back to Hans Conried, who was definitely good, the one they based the actual Joker on. But this is a $90 book in Australian dollars. I had to order it from Australia because the American printer was out of copies, and they're always out of copies. And I got tired of them being out of copies. I said, screw it. But this is, it's
his name is Paul Lanier.
I don't know him.
Okay. I'm gonna. I don't know if I can do full screen on this or not. Let me see if I can. Just a second. If it'll let me save the picture, then I will.
You're talking about the man who left, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
That's the guy that they got the.
They literally copied him for the Joker in the very first.
I've got him. I got him. Hold on 1 second. There he is. That's him.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
That's
this
him.
is the kid who was playing a kid whose face was cut into a permanent laugh.
Yeah.
And yeah.
Yeah.
Not the Joker though. This is just.
That's where they get. That's where they got the idea from.
Oh yeah.
So,
Yeah,
I mean, and the movie is kind of disturbing.
It's it should be. I mean, it was supposed to be about an abused kid and him, what is he in a circus or something? Freak show?
Mm-hmm. But no, those look great.
And it's all 1920 stuff. Here's Selena Kyle, how her Catwoman costume would be in the 20s, and they've got her.
I don't know. Yeah, well, okay. I don't think the hair was right, but yeah, the rest of her, yeah. The hair would be shorter. Now, okay, definitely, yeah.
Oswald Cobblepot here, and it's it's not just photos. I mean, it's got the whole story of what actually happened during those 20 years where he was playing Batman in Gotham. They did include Harley Quinn in here, which I'm like, I don't know why, because she didn't really. She's more of a new creation, but I like the design on her, so I'll allow it.
That's great. That was great.
You got Penguin's arrest card here. You've got a Mr. Freeze photo.
That'd work.
There's the utility belt, a 1920 utility belt.
That would take a lot of work to put together.
Yeah, well, that's why it's so expensive, I think, because it's basically $100 book by the time it's shipped. I don't know how many pages it is. I'm sure it says down there somewhere. There's the Scarecrow.
Dude, he looks like the younger brother to Frasier.
Yes, he does. he does look like Niles.
Yeah.
And then we actually get the Joker's description in here.
Yeah, but look how close he looks to the man who laughed.
Oh yeah, very much.
Yeah.
And then some of the Batman stuff, and then this was the Justice League picture you were talking about, Rick.
Yeah.
Which a 1920s Justice League. Given what they had to work with for costuming, I guess, and stuff in the time, you got Batman on the far end here.
What is she wearing?
Chainmail mesh skirt.
No, yeah, but I mean, what's on her arms? Is she wearing a jacket or something?
No,
yeah, she's got some kind of a
fur.
Oh, that fur. Okay. I was trying to figure out what she was wearing there because I couldn't, the picture.
Is this somebody's, I guess, interpretation or something? A different interpretation of like DC and the Justice League and all that?
Yeah, back in the 1920s.
Yeah, because originally it wasn't Justice League who was the first.
Yeah, but okay, it's going by this book, this fictitious book. But this looks good.
It's got I don't know if this is Woodrow Wilson, President Wilson on the back here. They got a skull in a jar down here, hotline telephone. I don't know what this picture is. I can't wait to get the book in hand to actually see it closer up. And
is that everything? Scale. Or how many pages is it?
That's what I'm trying to find out, how many pages it is. Because it doesn't really say. I mean, when it shows this could be mock-up because look, it's the middle of every page. It's at least 137 pages because I can see 137 on that sheet there.
Yeah, that's. Well, wait a minute. Wait back. Go back. Next one. What's number? What is that number?
131.
So it's at least 145 pages.
Yeah.
It may be a 200-page book.
And I don't know why it's not telling me how many pages it is. Here, usually that's a thing you would do. But no. But they had less than 5 left, so I'm like, well, I'm getting one. I'm grabbing it now. It just looks like a whole lot of fun.
That's a great looking book.
Yeah, you definitely have to show that book off once you get it.
Now he does have a thing at the bottom says disclaimer: this is a parody book, Batman and all its registered trademarks of DC. Production is not sponsored. Blah blah blah. Yeah. Covers, but there. This is the first thing he's done like this. All the other stuff he's done has been something called Wookiee erotica. it's
I don't even want to know.
You know, speaking of all, you talked about Australian and by extension UK. A lot of the stories in Fiction House and Jumbo Comics that we've been going over, like what we went over with Diane and Chris the other night. Those stories were coming from a magazine back at that time called Wags, like Hawks of the Sea and all that. They were Sheena. They were originally strips that were shown in a magazine over in England and Australia called Wags, and then reprinted in that. Much like how many of the other here in the States, the newspaper comic strips were reprinted into the comic book.
So has anybody been looking at the Death Dealer comic based on Frank Frazzetta's character?
No, I haven't. I heard about it coming out, but
okay, 1, 2, and 3 are out. I haven't really looked at them yet, but number 5 has got me very interested in it.
What's up with that?
Number 5 has got the Sea Witch, and they're putting the cover of Frank Frazzetta's Sea Witch on the book. I was like, ooh, just to have a copy of that cover would be worth buying.
I'm pulling up the artwork now so people can get an idea of what it is we're looking at.
But she's going to be on the cut. That Frank Frazetta that's going to be the cover. I mean, that's just unbelievably gorgeous.
Are they doing Frank Frazetta covers for all the issues though?
No, I think they did number 1. They're doing this one because she's actually in the book. So I'm not sure. I know Sarah's signed off on it, and the Frazetta girls have signed off on it. So basically, everybody signed off on the book.
Okay.
All the Frazettas have said go for it. They like what they're doing and everything like that. So
it's an awesome looking cover. Was this a cover to anything else in the past? I mean,
I don't know. I just know it's known as the Sea Witch. So it's just a painting that he did. But I don't know if it went with anything or not. It's just like the Goblin Queen. The Goblin Queen doesn't go in anything, but it's such an iconic picture.
And then Marvel stole the name.
I'd rather take the Frank Frazetta Goblin Queen over the. But I mean, don't get me wrong. I like Marilyn Pryor as the Goblin Queen. I mean, Silvestri. And the interesting thing about that Inferno book, believe it or not, that's the first appearance of Mr. Sinister.
Yep.
You know, everybody thinks he's an older character. No, he didn't come in until Inferno. He didn't make his appearance till Inferno.
He's chronologically an older character, I think, though, isn't he? I mean, he's been around a long time in the Marvel universe.
I've heard several backstories for him. I've heard he's the reason why Cyclops and Havoc can hurt him is because he's related to him. He's like their uncle, you know, the older brother to Kasser. I've heard that one. I've heard he's been around for, you know, this, that, and the other. So there's like 5 or 6 different stories behind him.
The Summers brothers, did they ever determine, or maybe this was just my own headcanon for a while, but for a long time I thought it was going to be revealed that Remy LeBeau was a Summers.
No, Remy LeBeau is not a Summers.
Okay.
He's still the Louisiana guy.
I don't know why I thought he was going to be revealed to be a Summers, but
But
maybe
they did finally fix the thing between him and Rogue so they could be together.
Oh,
Which
true.
it all fell apart anyway, because for
Yes.
some reason, I have never understood this. I still don't understand this to this day. Marvel and DC Comics will not let comic book characters get married and have a happy marriage.
No.
I
Well,
mean,
there's a couple that they've had happen.
which ones?
Lois and Clark.
That's DC.
No, okay, Lois and Clark. That's not there anymore. It fell apart.
But it
Well,
came back.
I know it keeps coming back and forth, but they can't make up their mind.
Yeah.
And don't say Spider. And don't say Spidey and Mary
Mary
Jane.
Jane.
That
No,
broke down
no,
with that.
yeah, they did. No, I was gonna say,
Jay and Joan Garrick.
yeah, Barry and his wife.
Nope. Undone.
No, they got rid of that.
Oh, Barry and Iris is what I guess Rick was
Yeah.
talking about.
Yeah, they got rid of that one. Like I said, they just. I mean,
Well, but they just got rid of that recently, didn't they? Like in the last maybe 5-10 years back.
now the biggest schmuck of all when they did all this stuff was Cyclops.
Oh,
He's
yeah.
the biggest schmuck of all in history of comic books. Because why? He married Marilyn Pryor, and what did he do? Jean Grey shows up and he dumps her and runs right back to Jean Grey.
Yeah.
And then
Exactly.
Jean Grey's dumb enough to take him back.
I remember when this was like a rarity because like when I read Power of the Atom miniseries in the 1980s and suddenly Ray Palmer and Jean Loring are going through a divorce because she had an affair. I'm like, whoa, that's like serious storytelling here. Now it's like, yeah, none of them can stay married. It's we're just rebooting everybody.
One of the greatest ones they kept hinting at, storylines, greatest they were kept hinting at, was going to be Kitty Pryde and Colossus.
Yeah,
Remember
forever.
that? They kept playing that for years.
Mhm.
Then what happens? She becomes Shadowcat and he cheated on her. And it just totally destroyed all that.
Well, today, James,
I know.
let's analyze it. If they came together today and Colossus married Kitty Pryde, somebody would be looking back at all that old X-Men history. It's like, well, yeah, they've been, they've been in love with each other ever since she came to the X-Men at 14. He'd been grooming that girl.
Hold on. And how old was he? 16?
Oh, but none of the X-Men never looked like teenagers when they were supposed to be teenagers.
Okay.
Well, okay, that reminds me of another story. I
Up
remember hearing.
until
Let's finish this
they
one first.
did the stuff with Cyclops and Marilyn Pryor, the X-Men were all teenagers. That's why Claremont got to do all that stuff he did. Because he kept them as teenagers.
But they never looked like teenagers. They looked like they were 25, 26 years old. And certainly Wolverine.
Well, Wolverine was always the old fart because he came out of Wolverine. I mean, out of the Hulk.
Yeah.
He was brought into the X-Men. So yeah.
Yeah, when he came into the X-Men, he was over 100.
Exactly.
Well, one of the things I was reminded of as you guys were talking was the story I remember hearing about 10 years ago. So the whole Shazam, Billy Batson, Stargirl, Courtney Whitmore thing.
That was an intriguing story that Jeff Johns told.
The Stargirl, that character, that's a tough one.
Well, because I guess she was 16 at the time. Technically,
No, I'm talking about the character Stargirl, because she's been getting a lot of heat the past with the TV shows and everything. But how Stargirl came to be, that's kind of a tough.
Oh, well, yeah. This is Jeff Johns' sister, Courtney, died in a plane crash.
Yeah.
And he created the character Courtney Whitmore Stargirl as a tribute to her.
Yeah, so that's kind of one of those things. I'll talk about her, and stuff like that, but I'm not gonna,
But yeah, that was an edgy little story that Johns had planned there, where he had Billy Batson and Courtney Whitmore were kind of dating, and he had told her who she was, and unfortunately, whenever he was Captain Marvel, you know, at group meetings, he would still give her looks, or, you know, he would pull her chair out for her or something. And Jay Garrick noticed and pulled him aside. And Jake, he's like, you know, what's going on here? This is not cool. And all he had to do was say Shazam. He's like, no, look, this is really me. But no, he flew off. And the wisdom of Solomon was telling him he couldn't tell his identity.
Yeah.
So, no, that wasn't the wisdom of Solomon talking there, buddy.
Yeah,
Well,
I would agree.
Well, because as Shazam, he of course looked like a man in it who would be considered in his prime, who would have been about like 25 or so, like 2025.
Oh,
Or
hey John,
older.
how you doing tonight? I see you. I see you're actually in the stream on the channel. So I want to say hi. No, we didn't ignore you. I wasn't paying attention to the chat.
oh yeah. Yeah, and guys, I'm getting ready to wrap it up here. So there's no stream to save. We're at the end of the rope now. It went into wrestling territory, and I just took a nap. But James, I'm going to ask you this, because you know you are you guys know the wrestling. I know it's all booked. I know it's, you know, you're going to come out the winner tonight. Blah blah blah. Has anybody ever defied the book?
Yes. Yes.
Did they successfully defy the book?
Yes. Yes. Yes, it has happened. 100% it has happened. One of the there was a house show. There was a house show that happened. I can't remember where it was at. But what happened was the booking was they had a young guy. It was his hometown, and he was wrestling. I want to say he was wrestling Macho Man Randy Savage in a non-title match, and the booking was 5-minute squash match. Savage got win the thing, and Savage went out with him. They went 10 minutes, and Savage had him do a quick roll up and get the win. But Savage did it for him because it was his hometown, stuff like that. But yeah, it has happened, and things happen, and it's usually one of the bigger stars. And what happens is when they get in the back, they'll get talked to, but they really, like, Savage was the Intercontinental Champion. He's like one of the top guys in the whole company. So basically, he could do what he wanted. But the booking was he was supposed to do a 5-minute squash match, and he didn't do it.
I mean, I know that some of the bookings have gone off book. If the supposed winner got injured in the match, you're like, what do we do? Well, cover him and, you know, end it. But I didn't know if they're like a title match where somebody said, no, screw this. I can take this guy. I want that title. And just defied it that way. I mean, you know,
Well,
yeah.
it's kind of funny because I was happened to be watching one of the videos from We Are Pro Wrestling, right? And they were talking about New Blood Rising. I don't know if you know what I'm talking about, James.
Yeah.
That's the one where now apparently it was actually a work, but they were trying to set it up like a shoot because it was Vince Russo who was doing the booking. Okay.
Yeah,
and basically it led to that whole like on-air screaming match between Goldberg and Vince Russo, where Vince Russo was telling him, get your in the ring.
But if
you
you
know
want
what I'm talking about, right, James?
if you want two recent incidences where the booking went out the door, one was the 4-way match for a shot at the women's title, and what was her name? She wrestled in Penn, but she did she did a body splash into the turnbuckle with Charlotte, and she actually knocked Charlotte out and pinned her there, and the referee had no choice but to go 1, 2, 3 because Charlotte was actually knocked out, and that threw everything whacked. And then of course the Jericho Neville match, that is the most infamous one of all, and that was because Neville broke his leg in the match.
Oh wait, are you talking about the one where where Jericho intentionally pushed the referee to get himself disqualified?
That would be the ones, because referee did not see the break of the leg and Jericho did, and so Jericho got himself purposely disqualified so he could get Neville out because it did snap his leg. I mean, when he did it, it was a bad break.
And
that happens in matches when people get hurt. That another one is Seth Rollins versus Sting. Sting and Seth Rollins were going on. Sting took that bump in the back of the corner and it messed up his back. He lost feeling in his hands and in his legs. And that's when he told Rollins to roll him up because Sting was supposed to win that match and win the title. But that was the last match Sting wrestled in the WWE because it basically he almost paralyzed Sting from the neck down. Seth Rollins. I've always said Seth Rollins was a dangerous wrestler. He's injured. I don't know how many people he's injured because of his stupidity. I can't stand Seth Rollins. I think he's reckless. I think he's gotten better over the years, but he was so reckless and he got so many wrestlers hurt because of his stupidity.
I'm sorry. Who are you talking about there, Jim?
Seth Rollins.
Oh, okay.
Well,
the visionary.
It's been 2 hours, and I still have a script to write. So,
all right,
RJ, can I have a couple minutes with you afterwards?
Yeah, sure.
Hey, John, JV, thank y'all for stopping by. Sorry, John. Like I said, he was wrapping up, and I didn't see your post. I do apologize.
Well, he didn't post it much before RG said he was wrapping up. I'd just like to know what stream was there to save. This was a pretty good stream. I don't think it needed saving.
James and Rick, I think RJ and I can probably explain that after we wrap up.
I have a wonderful time with James.
I get it. It's JDA. I know.
I've never had a problem with JDA. I'd like the guy. I don't have a problem with him. I'll sit and talk with him. Yeah, he knows it.
Yeah.
Anyway, RJ and I will explain afterwards.
All right. We'll talk to you later. Everybody, thank you for coming and watching tonight. We don't have a show without you. And as always, while you're here, just hope you had a blast.